Hello guys, welcome to the farm. Here with me Felix, also known as Bwana Mbeu, your number one farmer. So today I'm discussing cattle feeding or cattle ranching. There are many farms and many farmers that are keeping animals, specifically cattle. And for your own information, it's one of the most lucrative business that you can ever do as a farmer. Of course, it's quite heavy and expensive to maintain, but it depends on what that means. Um, it also varies with the animals that you're keeping, the breed, as well as also the location where you're based and found. So those are some of the things that I'll try to highlight and bring to your attention as to how you need to feed your animals, how to select the best animals, and the market, in a sense, because in the end you need to sell your animals. So there are a number of breeds for cattle. So, for example, here in Zambia, we've got a number of them. They're like the local breeds, like the Angoni, the Tongas, and many others. Then we've got the new breeds or the hybrids, which is like the Borans, the Brahmans, and all. Uh, but all you know, all these animals, it's either you are keeping them for beef or they are being kept for milk. So, regardless whether they're for dairy or they're just for beef, your animals need to feed. So you need to be in a place which has plenty or enough grass, which, for example, like in here, we're able to put it in bales. This hay is enough for a number of animals, and it can take us through, especially this time when it's really dry and hot, because animals don't need to move a lot of miles, kilometers, distances to cover distance just to access food and water. That way, if you're doing that or allowing animals to move longer distances during this period, they will not be grazing, they'll be losing weight. So you have to make sure that you're taking the food closer to where your animals are. So mind you, with the way the grass is or this hay, you can decide whether to grow hay or use grass that can grow naturally on its own, or you can grow different types of grass that is there. There's seed from different suppliers, but all that goes with how much money you have and to what extent you want to do uh, cattle ranching. So it is important that you understand the areas or locations. It goes with geographical locations and what kind of grass grows in that area. Is it good for your animals or not? Also, infestation of diseases. Is the area free from a lot of ticks and different pests that might affect your animals? You need to know that. Then you as well need to understand your accessibility to a vet or any animal scientist that either the government is providing or a private one. Largely, if you're doing animals on a bigger scale, you might need an in-house vet to be looking after your animals, but that isn't really necessary if you're doing precaution measures, which are specific about feeding, controlling feeding, organized grazing, and also you're providing the right minerals and vitamins for your animals. They will not be sick so often, and if they have enough space, they're able to roam around. And you need also to know the natural ways of preventing diseases and illnesses in your animals. So the hay, as you see it here, for example, it has just grass itself with its natural nutritional content, but to make it tasty and more nutritious, you can add a number of things like salt, you can add urea, you can add other supplements that sold in different agro shops, and that becomes not just tasty, but it gives more value and more nutritional value to for your animals. This is really rare for most of the African farmers because our tendency has been just to feed animals without really focusing on the nutritional benefit. So you need to know that going forward, it's not really about money, but about knowledge and understanding what you're doing. Because if you don't really know what's happening or what you're doing, you'll be doing the wrong thing. So how do you get to do the right thing? Is by you need to expose yourself to different platforms, farms, people who are already doing animal rearing, which is cattle ranching in this case. Understand how they are doing it and how they are feeding the animals. So I always encourage people that for you to keep cattle, you need enough land. You know, the carrying capacity of your land matters on your expansion. If you have very small piece of land, you may not need to do much, meaning you need to sell more of your animals as they grow, as they expand, as they increase. Why? Because your grazing area might not be able to feed all the animals that you have. There's also a factor, especially for those that are doing like the village setup where you're heading your animals into one place, one location where they're feeding community. That has got its own advantages and disadvantages, but mostly the disadvantages are with diseases, limited feeding areas, and also safety for animals. And usually such animals don't really gain enough weight. They just go by, just surviving, barely surviving. So you need to be fully involved. Imagine there's one example my uncle gave me. He said, why should you allow, because most animals, for example, the local breeds, they fetch around 10,000, 15,000 kwacha, 5, and all that. Why should you let your 15,000 kwacha be roaming around? If you've got 10 animals, that's like what, 150. Why allow your 150 to be roaming around? Why not nurture it, help it to grow? That way, you have a farming or a cattle ranching as a business, not just as one of those things, animals that you keep. They're fending for themselves, they're surviving on their own. You will not see profitability. And don't hold on to animals. When they are big enough, sell them off, allow new stock to grow, and keep expanding, keep growing like that. Time has passed when it was really a tradition for most of our forefathers to hold on to cattle as wealthy and not really sell, only sell when there's a situation, a problem at home. If you want to do it as a business, that mindset has to go. You have to really be involved, you have to sell, you have to push for good, clean, healthy beef or animals that you have, then you see the value. So that is how it's done briefly. And if you need to see more of what we do and how to raise the best animals, you can always reach out to me on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn. I'm there. There's enough knowledge, enough information that I've shared. Go read, go listen, go watch those videos. Then let's get talking. We can plan visits. Then we should be able to get talking. We do also have online discussions and lessons, seminars. All that information is trying to help you as a farmer to grow bigger beyond the limits that have been imposed on you by society. So take farming as a business, learn from the best. You've been with me, your number one farmer, Bwana Mbeu, Felix Mbewe, the number one and best ever. Love you guys. Let's keep talking. Enjoy whatever you're doing and wherever you are. Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.